Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, six-time world champ, two-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me as always. And guys, if you hear crickets, man, we got some crickets in the building.
Are you hitting the crickets again? It
No,
was you.
no, that's not me, man. I swear, I don't know where it's coming from. It might be in the keyboard, but I'm sorry.
It's got to be you.
It must be something in the board, man. I'm not doing it myself. I don't know what's going on, but
Okay.
welcome inside the Hall of Fame, guys. I'm Booker T, six-time world champ. Like I said, we got a whole lot to talk about today. Coming off a huge weekend combat. Mike Tyson when I did his thing. Of course, NXT WarGames. A pay-per-view that's near and dear to my heart. My first pay-per-view that I ever participated in was WarGames, WCW, right here in Houston, Texas. So we definitely got to talk about that. People out there still talking smack. It's people talking smack. So we're going to talk a little bit about everybody. But, man, before we even get there, how you doing, Doc? How you feel?
Boy, I'm good. I'm good today. That's you. That is you doing that.
Okay, I see it.
You're hitting something.
Oh, no, I don't know what it is, but I see
that last slider next to your.
I see what it is. I see where it's coming from, but it's doing it on its own. I have nothing to do with that, guy. Hopefully, this show won't be crickets for you guys.
Yeah, there you go. I had a good weekend. Saturday I actually made plans to do absolutely nothing, and then I did something that for the first time that I hadn't done since the pandemic started. I actually went to the movie theater.
Wow.
I said, you know what? Let's go. Let's see how it is. And there was no one there at all, so I felt real safe. There was literally nobody at the theater. Wow. Nobody. I wanted to go take it in. I figured it was time, and I was safe. I was masked up. I even had
what you go watch?
So I wanted to see what was playing there. They were playing a lot of old movies, but there was a new movie with Robert De Niro called The War with Grandpa. I don't know if you've seen any of the trailers for this or whatever.
I haven't seen any.
It's hilarious. It's Robert De Niro, Uma Thurman, Cheech Marin, Christopher Walken, and I'm forgetting somebody. The girl from Bond back in the day. I can't think of her name. But it was hilarious. Robert De Niro, one of the great actors of our time. We all know this.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the greatest actors ever.
What was what was the basis?
So the plot is he's an old man and his wife dies, and Uma Thurman is his daughter.
Of course he's an old man.
Yeah, and Uma Thurman's his daughter, and she says, come live with us, and they give him her son's room, right? And then the son has to go in the attic, and now he starts a declaration of war with Robert De Niro, and it's about them pranking kind of one another back, trying to fight for this room. And it was really, I didn't expect much from it. My expectations were low. And the output was very high. I laughed more than I expected to. So it's one to watch. If you want to wait till it comes out on streaming, I'm sure it'll be out in time. It's kind of one that you could watch with the family. The family would like it. Everybody would laugh, all ages kind of thing. So and they're even saying in the chat that it is indeed a great movie. I laughed a lot. Yeah, John, it was funny. I really did enjoy it.
Well, you're not the only one out there going to the movies.
I'm not the only one.
Yeah, somebody else.
I did feel weird. I felt really odd. It was
nobody. Literally just you and
right. Yeah. Me and the party I arrived with, and then the people working there.
Wow.
That was it.
That's amazing.
That was it.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it was very odd. It was very odd.
Man, it's crazy, man. It's crazy times we're going through right now. Just to touch on a serious moment, you see, like LA right now. Places like New York, shutting down. And I swear, man, I really hate to see these places have to close their businesses because everybody got to pay their bills, and it doesn't seem like then again, I know it seems like a lot, but just say for instance, you got a rent is $1,000 and you 6 months behind. $6,000, and it's hard to catch up from being $6,000 down, man. I mean, ask the people that's in trouble with the IRS that owe taxes, man. It's hard to catch up, once you get behind like that, man. So I'm praying, man, for everyone out there. I see these lines at these food banks, and it breaks my heart, man. Every time I see somebody on the corner, man, with a sign, I saw one guy. God said, man, any way you can help me out and I need a beer, boom, I cut him off. I broke him off a piece, man. I'm like, man, get you a beer, man. Because it's stressful times, man. And if I can help you get a beer, I'm gonna do it, man. So if anybody out there that's listening, man, if you see somebody that you can help them out, you got an extra dollar in your pocket, man, do it, man, because there's so many people out there that's hurting right now, man. And and the thing is, you know, we can't fix everybody's problems, but just one make a difference. I really, really, truly believe that. Hello from South Africa. Hello back all the way South Africa.
Christopher McCay. Shout out to
wait.
Christopher McCay. Everybody who's watching live, shout out where you are in the chat so we can see how the world is listening to us right now. Because, Booker, we are the most important show in the world. Don't let these other people fool you.
No,
right?
man,
Don't let anybody say any different. We're the #1 show in the world. We make all the news in the wrestling business.
ain't nobody fooling me, man. We make all the dirt sheets every week.
We are back in the day, Chris Jericho used to be like, "Welcome to Raw is Jericho," right?
Yeah.
We are the dirt sheet.
We really are, man. We really are the dirt sheet, man. And we represent, man. The Bad Bunny song been getting a whole lot of props, guys. The Bad Bunny, it's been getting a lot of props. Booker T. But I'm gonna tell you, the party's not over. The party's not over. It's still a whole lot more to come, guys. So just sit back and wait and enjoy when you see it, man. I'm so looking forward to doing so much more in that field. But guys, stay tuned. There's more to come. We got Iowa in the house. We got Indianapolis in the house. We got Miami, Florida in the house. We got South Indiana in the house. We got Indiana in the house. Everybody's in the house. You know what I mean?
Bolivia, Nigeria, South Carolina, everybody's around the world. Toledo, Toronto, man. Scotland, New York City, New Jersey, Arkansas.
Giving you guys new beard tips. If you're checking out the beard right now, you're checking out the shine, you're checking out the gloss. And if you notice, I got a new line putting on it. You know what I mean? So guys, stay tuned. If you need some beard tips, let me know. I can give you all the tricks of my trade as far as getting in there, the old, the boys' room and taking care of the beard. It's something special, man. I'm loving it. Brad,
what did you do this weekend?
Oh man, I just kicked back, man, and enjoyed the festivities. Of course, the Errol Spence Jr. Fight was on as well. We had some UFC going down also, and we had a little bit of everything going off this weekend, man. Of course, Mike Tyson still in the news. Roy Jones, he's in the news. So I just was sitting at the house, man. Actually, the weather wasn't so bad. It's a little cool outside, but actually sit out on the patio and just enjoy the coolness because it's something that we don't get here in the H so often. You know what I mean? So I just sit back and relax, man, and just chill and enjoy the weekend and enjoy the festivities.
Well, that's good. I heard, I'm glad I asked you because you were about to go in on my facial hair. You're about to say something.
You look like you need to work on your game, man. I mean,
I figured something out. So, I got to wear the mask everywhere I go, right?
And
the mask covers it up. And, you kind of go through that rough period, right, where you're trying to grow the stuff out. So, the mask is kind of shielding it. The only time that people see me is on this show, which is the most visible thing that I do. So I haven't really figured that part out. But it's winter's coming up. You know what I mean? I'm gonna see what happens.
No. The thing is, Brad, you don't know how to work your beard. That's all it is. Your beard ain't gonna be like everybody else's beard, at least not in the beginning.
Right.
You got to know how to find certain levels. Right now, you at level 1. All right, let's just say you at level 1. So right now, what you need to do is get the cut to where your line is at a certain spot, and don't touch it from that point on, other than getting that line redone every 3 weeks or so. And then that part actually will fade in. I can see the bottom coming in. It's coming in. Yeah, exactly. So you just want that to get full and then gradually move up a little bit at a time, and then you get there. Yeah, of course, the gloss that comes, with the wax you use, as far as the oils you use. Me personally, being a brother, for all the brothers out there, the beeswax. the beeswax is a monster, man. You put the beeswax on it, but you don't just put the beeswax on it. You put the beeswax on it and you blow dry it in nice and smooth. You get the lines going exactly the way you want it to go. Once you get the lines going the way you want to go, you get the oil and you put it on the small needle teeth comb, and you make sure you comb the oil into the beard, opposed to just putting it on the beard. That's where the shine comes from. Guys, I'm telling you, I got a few more tricks to the trade. The hot iron. I got to talk to you about the hot iron. But that's another story. That's another level. That's all of this here and all of that there. Hey, guys, you're in the Hall of Fame. Stick around. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the hall, y'all. I see everybody out there taking the tips, making sure. One guy said, I'll put water on it to make it grow. Of course you put water on it to make it grow, man. I mean, but that's normally, when you're taking a shower, whatnot, you make sure when you're taking a shower, you wash it. A lot of times you don't want to wash your beard all the time. You know what I mean? It's just like your hair. You don't want to wash the juices out of it. You got it going in a certain way. Sometimes you could wash that right away and it won't stick. So make sure you don't wash every chance you get. You washing your beard. No, it's like your hair, man. You gotta moisturize it. You gotta manicure it. It's like a chia pet. They got the chia pets right now coming out for the new Christmas holidays right now, guys. So it's like a chia pet. You gotta make sure you manicure it. I
can't believe they're still selling those damn things. But you know, one of the popular ones that I almost said I was gonna buy.
Trump.
No, not Trump. No. They had a James Harden chia pet where the beard would grow in and then his little mohawk would go in. I said, you know what? Book started talking all this smack. Maybe I should buy him a James Harden chia pet for Christmas, and he might appreciate what the beard can really do. And this was actually a thought that I had last year for Christmas. And then I said, maybe not. Maybe he'll get a little too hot about that, right?
Yeah. Where is James Harden right now?
You know what? It's a good question, Booker T.
Where's James Harden?
And you know that I've been a big, maybe the biggest proponent of James Harden in the history of you and I doing this show on air for the last, however, 4 or 5 years. I've been a big proponent of James Harden for a very long time, right? His entirety of his run in Houston. I've recognized this man's greatness, and I will continue to recognize this man's greatness. However, big shift in my life today. I have decided we need to get James Harden up out of Houston. It's time for him to go.
What are you talking about?
James Harden to go.
What are you talking about, man? It's the guy, man. It's the guy.
Get him out of here.
That's the guy that's been representing and making all the shots and doing all the right. What are you doing? What happened? What happened?
Look.
What happened with the bromance with James Harden? What happened?
Look, I got love for him. I do. I got love for him. But what I don't have love for is unprofessionalism, right? Book, since you walked into the doors in the Global Wrestling Federation, then through WCW, WWF to TNA to WWE, right? Reality wrestling, all of them.
Yeah.
You've always carried yourself with professionalism. If you say you're going to be there, if you put your name on the contract, you're going to show up. You're going to do your job. You're going to be Booker T.
Right? Yeah.
No matter what, even if you're not happy that day, even if you've had a headache, right? Even if you're a little under the weather, you might be a little hurt.
Show up and do your job.
Somebody might have pissed you off.
Yeah.
Right? You're still going to show up and do your job, right? Because that's your job. That's what you signed your contract for. James Harden went out and he partied with not Da Baby. He partied with Lil Baby for Lil Baby's birthday or something. Lil Baby's another rapper. I don't know. Do you know Lil Baby?
Out of Lil Baby, Lil Tweet, Lil all of them. I don't know none of them. Man.
Little tweet. Little tweet.
I'm
Little tweet.
serious, man. I don't know none of these.
But anyway, Lil Baby, he hung out with Lil Baby, and then apparently there's a COVID protocol violation for the NBA, like you couldn't show up, right? So then James missed the very first Rockets practice where John Wall was there, Boogie Cousins was there, Woods was there, all the new pieces. James misses the first practice, right? Steven Silas, the new coach, says, "Hey, yeah, no problem, no problem. He's gonna be here later tonight, and he's just gonna do an individual workout."
Yeah.
But he didn't show up for the individual workout either, right? So that was a little problematic for me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You didn't do your job, but okay, maybe whatever. You had something that came up, you couldn't do it. Okay, cool. I'll even look past that. But then the fact that you still haven't shown up and you've gone completely AWOL, so much so that the coach says that he doesn't even have a timetable on when James Harden is going to join the team.
Yeah.
He has no idea. He said there's no timetable as far as I know. It is a setback. You want your best player to be here. So Steven Silas, who's trying to do his job as the new coach, he can't even coach his team because the best player doesn't want to show up. Why? Why do you want to show up? Because he wants to trade to Brooklyn? I'll tell you what. You need to trade his. Does Saskatchewan have a team? Do they have a professional team?
No,
Send this man to Saskatchewan.
My thing is, man, I see a lot of people in the chat saying, send him here and send him there, man. And the thing is, it sounds like a great idea. It really does. It sounds like a great idea on paper, to have a guy like James Harden, on your squad, man. But like I say, James Harden been here in Houston for 8.5, 9 years, and he hadn't produced a whole lot at all.
Hamstring away from the finals.
I mean, and the thing is, it's going to take a whole lot, as far as the nucleus being around James Harden for a team like that to win, and it's going to be James Harden having to go to a team where there's a leader already there, and he's going to have to. James Harden, mark my word, he's going to end up like Dwight Howard. He's going to end up having to go to a team just to try to get a win before his career is over with. Because if it's going to be up to James Harden to be the guy to win the championship, me personally, I just don't see that happening. And I'm not hating or anything like that. I'm just looking at the ball player as far as, what he brings to the team. And when I say that, man, I'm talking about a capital T when I say team. And I just don't see that with James Harden because with, Chris Paul, we should have won a championship. We should have won a championship.
We should have. Yeah.
I mean, we should have. We should have won a championship with Chris Paul. But there again, outside looking in, of course, I really truly don't know. But man, I just see a whole lot of prima donna in James Harden and him wanting to be that guy, you know what I mean? That's front and center, that everybody's talking about. But, for me, that comes with a heavy load. You got to be doing all the work. I mean, Jordan don't get the credit just because he was a shooter. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm serious. You know
Right.
what I mean? LeBron James, he don't get the credit just because he was a shooter. Right. You know what I mean? Steph Curry might get a credit because he's a shooter, but he's a guy that play some defense as well. You know what I mean? James Harden is going to go down as being a guy that was a shooter, and that's it. And he's going to have to find himself onto a team that's going to guide him to a championship, and it's going to be at the end of his career. It's not going to be anywhere in the near future with any of these teams like the Warriors, the T-Wolves, you know what I mean? They send him to Golden State, man. Steph Curry will pack his grip and take a long trip, and he'll go to LA. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, before Klay got hurt, I would like to have seen a straight-up James Harden for Klay Thompson trade. I would have loved that. I would have done that in a second. I think, if I'm going to make a prediction, James Harden will not be on the Houston Rockets past the All-Star break, and he will be playing for the Philadelphia 76ers, and we will trade him for Ben Simmons and a first-round pick. That's what I think. That's my prediction. Lock it in, but I want this man out. Get him out. You know what I mean? Get him out of here. Let him drag some other team through the mud now because I just don't like the unprofessionalism. That's what gets me. You can go out there and you can lose. That's fine. I can accept the loss. I can't accept the unwillingness to commit to the organization that you put your name on the dotted line to play for. That's what I can't accept. Once we've gotten to that, if I'm Steven Silas, I don't want him on the team. If I'm Fertitta, I'm going to say, I'm paying this guy $40 million for what? For what? To not show up to practice?
Yeah. And you know Fertitta, you know.
He's cheap.
Get his ass out of here.
You ever been to Bubba Gump? That's some cheap food.
No, man.
You pay a lot for.
I'm serious, man. No, I'm with you on that, man. I say get him up out of here. But I've been saying that.
You have, but you've been saying that for a different reason than what I'm saying.
But no, well, why? Well, you know what reasons? Why? I mean, it's been the same thing. He's been.
No. I think he can still win a championship with this organization. But not with the attitude. That's why if he goes to the 76ers, he goes to Brooklyn, he goes wherever.
See, now I ain't gonna just let him go because of attitude. You know what I mean? Because I'm like,
you know what?
I'm like Iverson, man. Talk about practice. You know,
AJM has it right now.
You ain't talking about the game. You ain't talking about the game that I go out there and shoot all the 3-pointers. Game that I go out there and lead the league and score. You ain't talking about the game. How you gonna bust me and jump on me about the practice? How you gonna actually talk to me about practice? I'm James Harden. I mean, I'll show up at the game and I'll show up and I'll hit my threes. You know what I mean? I'll get my assists. You know what I mean? I'll get my triple-double. You know what I mean? And you should be happy about that. You should be paying me more, even more so. So why are you complaining about me missing practice? Why is it such a bad thing about practice, Brad? I mean, look. I've been getting on him for the right reasons. I've been getting on James Harden for the right reasons.
No.
AJ been here for 8-9 years. You know what I mean? Just like Patrick Creighton always talking about James Harden this and James Harden that. Man, you suckers need to ride together, you know, to the ballpark and cry your tears away after each and every loss. That's what you have to do.
Time out. AJM in the chat has got it right. You know what Harden's problem is? He doesn't have the shine of the gloss.
No, he definitely don't have it.
That's his problem.
The brother beard look nappy, nap. You know what I'm saying? He need to get something on it quick. You know what I mean? Before it just dry up. You know what I mean? But that's hard. He might go for the caveman look. That's another story. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
The Academy.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame. Hey, man, I'm just playing, man. It's for James Harden, the beard, man. The brother's beard look good, of course, but he do need some shine on it. He do need some shine.
He needs a little shine.
Some gloss on it. You know what I mean?
You know what?
And the thing is, I'm not kissing up to him or anything like that. You know what I mean? I'm not planning on, James Harden coming on the show anytime soon or anything. But I would love for him to come on the show, but I don't plan on him coming on the show anytime soon. But I'm just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real as far as the way I've always felt, as far as James Harden, in Houston and what he's brought to this team. Man, I really think we should have won a championship a long time ago. But I'm not like Ariel Helwani just because, I don't, see eye to eye with what the guy's doing, and I'm not going to just kiss up to him. I'm not just going to fluff him and make him feel good about himself or anything like that. That's something that Helwani would do. You know what I mean? Let's talk about Ariel Helwani.
Let's talk about Ariel Helwani.
Let's talk about Ariel Helwani. Used to be a friend of the show.
Yes, former friend.
talking a whole lot of smack. And that's my thing, man. If you talk smack, I'm going to talk it right back at you. They had him on the Pat Mcafee show this weekend. That's something that I did this weekend. Oh, yeah, that's right. I called into the Pat Mcafee show and actually had a conversation with Ariel Helwani, who had been ducking and dodging, running and hiding. Like, I'm from the ghetto. You know what I'm saying? I'm from the ghetto. You get up and make a turkey sandwich 12 o'clock at night, you flip the light on. Roaches just run and hide. That's exactly what this roach did. He just ran. He just hide, got behind the toaster, wherever he went. I don't know. But I finally got a chance to talk to Ariel Helwani and just tell him a little bit about himself. And then, you know what he does? You know what he does?
What do you do?
This is what he does. You know what he does? He gets on the phone and he pulls his phone out and he calls Daniel Cormier to protect him.
Wait. You're telling me as you're going in on him?
As I'm thinking we're having a conversation here, a manly conversation, throwing beef back and forth. And
between two men.
In the middle of the conversation, he pulls his phone out and calls his mama. Called Daniel Cormier. And and said, please, can you help me out here? Can you please come pick me up? It was one of those things. I used to go to the skating rink when I was a kid. And at the end of the night, you call your mama to pick you up. Mama, can you come pick me up? That's exactly what this sucker did. He called Daniel Cormier to come pick him up at the end of the night at the skating rink. Can you picture that? Can you picture that? I mean, a grown man with kids. I mean, that's what's so sad about it. I mean, but that's another story. I don't want to get too hyped up. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I understand, look, say you're at the skating rink and you think somebody's plotting on you. That, then you might say, hey, look, let me call up the homies, let them know what's going on. Let me have my boys meet up here so they can have my back, right? That's one thing, right? It's another thing when you're having, over the phone, a conversation with another man, right? And calling him out on his BS. Because Ariel, he's one of these guys we call a keyboard warrior. You know what I mean? Behind these mics, man talks tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You might think he could do something. He talks so tough behind it. But as soon as he's confronted, what does he do?
For those guys who don't know Ariel Helwani, Bradley, enlighten them, please. Who Ariel Helwani is?
Ariel Helwani is an ESPN journalist who's covered the sport of MMA for quite some time. And he currently hosts a show with a future Hall of Fame former world champion, Daniel DC Cormier. Now, if you're unfamiliar with how this man looks, we could share a photograph of him, right? And then you tell me if this guy looks like somebody who's going to do something, okay? So let me get this picture up of Mr. Helwani. So this is Mr. Helwani. He acts like he's going to do something. This is the guy who talks all the smack about Booker T. This guy right here. This cheesing Canadian is the man, and he walks around saying that he's the 9-time journalist of the year, which is probably off some self-promoted blog. He probably voted for himself in a poll somewhere. He claims that he's a proud Canadian, and he always says that Bret Hart is the greatest wrestler of all time. Bret Hart would be ashamed to know that Ariel Helwani, that he's Ariel Helwani's favorite wrestler. He would be ashamed by that. He would be sickened by that thought.
And the thing is, man, I've been in the ring with a plethora of Canadians, great wrestlers. I always said the Canadians were the best wrestlers outside the guys from Texas. You get me? You know what I mean? So it's always been love for the Canadians for me. But with this guy right here, man, this guy. I mean, this guy, look at him, man. Just look at him. Can't wait to knock the smile off of his face. You know what I mean? He's a pretty kid. But out there, I deal with him. He won't be so pretty no more. Trust me on that right there. That's another story. But my thing is this. I actually, I want to take something back that I said about DC, man, because DC got brought into this by this guy. From the beginning, I just wanted to get DC on the show, talk about him going into wrestling and actually doing some commentating.
Right.
Which I thought this thing was, said, I really said nothing about him, but man, if I catch him at Starbucks, I have a little conversation with him. Then all of a sudden he want to go on a world tour, talking about Booker T and my career, my relevancy. still in the business. Hey, I'm still there. And I'm gonna be there quite some time. I got a long contract. But my thing is this: I'm gonna tell it like it is each and every time, no matter who it is, no matter what. But I want to apologize to DC for saying some stuff about him because of I got a little hot. I got hot.
You got a little hot.
And once my temper, once you push my button, you know what I mean, I go somewhere. So DC, I apologize to you, but as far as Ariel Helwani, bringing you in this, because the thing is, if he wouldn't have called DC, I wouldn't have never said anything. And DC kind of got on the phone and backed him up a little bit, so don't jump in the fight, man. If you don't want to get some scratches, you don't want to get a few bruises. But Ariel brought him in to that fight. But there again, I want to apologize to DC. I can't take it back or anything because it's true. But I apologize for actually bringing you in that dog fight.
Yeah. No, look. I got love and respect for Daniel Cormier, right? But if Daniel wants to run his mouth and back up his boy Ariel Helwani, here's the thing, Book. Here's the thing. If you stand, no. If you stand behind somebody, you're gonna get it. I'm just saying, if you stand by somebody, you know what I mean. If you run with somebody and they talk, right, and you back them up, then obviously you want the smoke too.
Well, something might happen to you, man. You know what I mean?
Something might happen.
Something might happen to you if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, messing with the wrong people. You know what I mean? And my thing is this: I'm a nice guy. Guy until you push my button, like Helwani. And my thing is this: I'm gonna jump off of Helwani. I ain't gonna give him no more time on my show. But one, man. I'm an easy man to find. If you want this little rivalry to keep going on and on and on, we can keep it going, man, because I can talk all night. I don't know if you know about the guy that was trying to prank me that ended up getting pranked. You don't want to mess with me, bro.
That's a story that only few know. If you know, and that's not something you want.
You don't want to do it. But what else we got, man?
But you know what? Ariel, one more thing. Ariel, if you believe all that smack that you've been talking, this Saturday night, December the 12th, at the Booker T World Gym Arena, the house that this man built, the two-time Hall of Famer. If you're really about to smoke Ariel Helwani, you will get your Canadian ass on an airplane, get down here to Houston, Texas, where we mean what we say and we say what we mean, and we will see you in the middle of the squared circle, the 20x20 steel cage main event. Booker T, Ariel Helwani, we settle it. This way. Let's see if you're really about it, Aaron.
Man,
Let's see if you're really about it.
I'm ready to go, man. Reality wrestling, man. We got like Brad say on the 12th, Saturday the 12th, guys. Come on out and see some action. Drive-in show. We just a small little wrestling company. Reality of wrestling, but we work so hard for our artists right down there in Texas City. 10,000 Emmett F. Lowry Expressway and Helwani. If you want some, you can get some. But let me tell you something, son. You better be big enough and bad enough to take some. And this is an old school line too, because it's gonna be on like a Stephen Potter neck bone. Hey guys, that's here going down locally right there in Texas City. And speaking of local, guys, as a local-based company, Gal Media believes in the concept of supporting local businesses, jobs in our community. So, guys, when we're asking you to our listeners to hashtag keep it local when you're shopping, eating, just taking out, buying services, consider a local business and share your great experiences with the hashtag keep it local. Listen for our sponsors, guys, that support ESPN 975 and 92.5. Then hashtag keep it local with them. Guys, you want to learn more? Go to ESPN975.com/ESPN. Keep it local. Hey, guys, we'll be back in a momento. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer, and this is for all up-and-coming professional wrestlers, male and female. You want to know the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts. You got a question, I got the answer. If you want to know how, join my masterclass. Go to realityofwrestling.com for all the information, starting on Thursday and every Thursday after that, guys. Don't miss out. Don't get shut out. And I know you can dig that. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Hey, what went down this weekend was Errol Spence Jr., Danny Garcia got back inside the square circle. Welterweight championship on the line, 2 belts. And I swear, man, we talked about it. We talked about Errol Spence getting back inside the square circle. Was he going to be able to do it like he did it before? Was he going to have the juice? Was he going to have, probably, the thoughts of, man, can I go out here and do it like I did it before? I had a knee injury, and I said, man, can I go out there and do it like I did it, once before? Will I be able to jump as high as I did? Will I be able to, have as much height on that side kicking, man? And it worried me like crazy. And I just had a knee scope, and I took 3 months off. This guy went through a horrific car accident. Errol Spence Jr. went through a accident that, perhaps should have, and most definitely could have taken his life, but it didn't. By the grace of God, he was spared to fight another day against one of the top fighters in the division, Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia, there again, he is no, newcomer. He's no Johnny come lately or anything like that. Danny Garcia is a bona fide champion, but a bona fide champion at 140, moving up to 147. That right there is a huge jump for a fighter. Danny Garcia, there again, a fighter that was undefeated at 140, but moves up to 147 and have trouble with, the best of the best in that division. And then Errol Spence, man, like I say, man, I might be catching this guy at the perfect time. I mean, he might just be right for the pickings right now. And the thing is, I'm sure everybody thought that way. I'm sure everybody was like, man, if the time to get this guy, Errol Spence, if the time to get him, it's going to be right now. And the thing is, it wasn't the right time for Danny Garcia. And I tell you, I watched the fight from the beginning to end. Actually got a chance to watch it right here from home. And therefore, I got a chance to see everything in detail. I got a chance to watch Errol Spence, a guy who definitely wasn't, at the top of his game. He definitely wasn't as sharp as he could have been. But he was still sharp in certain areas enough to where he could go out there and make Danny Garcia look like, a B+ fighter. And to go out and do it, like I say, after a year and a half layoff, coming off of a horrific accident like that, and to go out and perform like that, it lets me know that Errol Spence Jr. is truly the truth. This guy is real. He's the real deal. Not since, no pun intended, but not since a guy like Evander Holyfield that I can really say, man, this guy's the truth. He's the real deal. Errol Spence, he went out and performed at a very, very high level. And like you say, he gave himself a C+, B- as far as this fight goes. He called this fight with Danny Garcia a tune-up fight. Now, no, for him to say something like that, that Danny Garcia was a tune-up fight, it lets me know, man, that this guy, he's another level type fighter.
No, I enjoyed the fight, but I think it was pretty clear on, and this is one thing that made me feel comfortable with Errol Spence's performance. Now, was it the greatest? Was it as good as we saw him with Showtime Sean Porter? No, but his output was still the same, right? Or at least similar. He was still putting out the Errol Spence Jr. output that we always see. He's always going to rank higher when it comes to the CompuBox with the numbers of punches this guy will throw. And Errol looked a little bit like he had to get his feet about him, maybe in that first 2 minutes of the first round. But after that, he looked comfortable in there. He looked like Errol the True Spence. And Danny Garcia seemed as though, and I know his father was his corner man, Danny Garcia seemed as though he couldn't figure Errol Spence out for the entirety of that fight. He may have won a round or two, but overall, he could not figure Errol Spence out, you saw he was tripping over his own feet at times, falling on the mat. And, I think the commentators were like, well, that's typical with a southpaw fighter fighting orthodox. Although Danny Garcia has fought 5 southpaw fighters before and beat all 5 of them. So I don't know if that was a valid excuse. I think that the reason was Danny Garcia went out there and he saw, oh my gosh, this Errol Spence guy, he's pretty good. This guy knows how to box. And he just couldn't figure out in that 12-round time frame how to unlock the mystery of Errol Spence Jr. There's a reason why this guy's undefeated. There's a reason why he holds the gold in the welterweight division. There's a reason why Terrence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao want to fight this guy, because he is everything that his nickname says he is. He's the absolute truth, and he's Texas homebred, so I like him.
Nah, man, that jab, jab was it was just on point. And that's where he I think that's where he overwhelmed his opponents. His pressure, putting that jab out. Sometimes, he throw a jab and a left hand at the same time almost. The jab is, to the face with the right, and then the left hand is to the body. It is just the craziest shot. I've seen Floyd Mayweather. We're going to talk about him here in a bit as well. I've seen Floyd Mayweather deliver that shot as well. I think, him and Floyd, the only 2 fighters I've ever really seen deliver that punch and make it look like it's effective. And I tell you, I wonder, who's the guy that's going to beat Errol Spence? Of course, you say you want to fight again in the summer sometime. Definitely going to be looking forward to that. My thing is, who's going to beat him? Who matches up best with Errol Spence? Where's the money at as far as the next guy to fight Errol Spence? Me personally, if it was me and I had to pick him, and I was anywhere near Spence's corner, man, I'd just go ahead on and throw Manny Pacquiao's name out there and try to get that fight made, get it done.
Let's get that done. Yeah.
Hopefully, COVID will be, well behind us by then, and those guys could hook it up in Dallas, right down the road. And man, that would be the weekend of all weekends right there. And the thing is, unlike Keith Thurman, 2 southpaws, 2 guys, that's going to be fighting, without that barrier of, man, I haven't, fought this guy, this style that many times. It's going to be something that both guys are going to be totally familiar with. And there again, it will be just like the Keith Thurman fight, old line versus young line. Can Manny Pacquiao go out there and, create the magic just one more time? Will, the people, jump on planes, I don't know how many, and, fill a building up with Filipinos, man.
Well, you know what? I'm glad that you said that. So right now, if you're Errol Spence and you're going to fight Manny Pacquiao and you want to make that statement that I am that man, look, you just fought in your backyard in Jerry World, right? Against Danny Garcia. You went out there, you repped on your home field. And getting a victory at home is sweet. It feels good. You know what's better, Book? They say a series doesn't start until you get a win on the road. Can you imagine Errol, the Truth, Spence Jr. fighting Manny Pacquiao in the Philippines?
Oh, man.
Go fight him in the Philippines. Right now, there's only right now, there is less than 30,000 active COVID cases in the Philippines. By March, April, maybe we're looking at none, right? Almost 500,000 people recovered already in the Philippines. Maybe we're looking at none. Let's do it in the Philippines. No. Errol Spence, Manny Pacquiao, let's go. Let's go.
I love to go there, man, and do it.
Let's go.
But you know what? I wouldn't want to put that kind of pressure on Errol, man. To actually go to.
He's a legend. If he does it, he's a legend for life.
Nah, man. If you win, if you win. But I'm going to tell you, man, that would be, bigger than the Thriller in Manila.
It'd be massive.
It really would
be.
As far as, for Pacquiao, being, a countryman, guy that's, definitely a god there, at the end of the day. And for Errol to, make that trip, I tell you, man, there would be a whole lot of pressure, man. It would be like the world against Errol Spence. I can't even fight. I can't even imagine fighting under those conditions. Where, of course, in Vegas, you're going to have a lot of people there that's going to be for him, but you're going to have a few of your fans going to be in the building. They're going to be representing you. But we know over there in the Philippines, it's not going to be one person rooting for Errol Spence other than the people that he bring with him. And that would be such a one-sided mismatch that I personally would not want Errol to have to deal with. I say bring it to Vegas, COVID going away. We go down, have a good time. You bring your people, we bring our people, and we meet in the middle. Can you imagine? It would be like Rocky Balboa when he went to Russia. You know what I mean?
But guess what? He won the Russians over, and he beat Drago. That's my thing with Errol. You could win the Filipino people over.
It's a movie, man. It's a damn
That's
movie.
a documentary.
It's a movie there, man. Come on.
Rocky IV ended the Cold War, Booker T.
We got to take a break, man. Hey, guys, we're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. We got a whole lot, man. We got a whole lot more for you. Bradley, over the weekend, Errol Spence, for me, again, went out and proved that he is the best in the division. Manny Pacquiao is, for me, should be the guy. Sean Porter was talking about he was the mandatory.
Yeah, he said he's the mandatory for like the WBC, WBA, and the WB. I think for all of them.
How would he be the mandatory?
I don't know.
That confused me a little bit right there. Even though he won his last fight, but I don't think he should go back to the end of the line. But I don't think
he should be next in line.
I don't think it's a reason why Sean Porter should be anywhere near next in line for a title shot.
Especially not one against Errol Spence.
No, exactly my point. After getting beat when he, it wasn't like, he was the champion coming in or anything like that. Yeah. I don't think he had a rematch clause or anything like that. So I'm just trying to figure that out. For me, Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, Manny Pacquiao make a whole lot more sense to me. Those are the fights that people want to see. Those are the fights that I think that would draw so much more attention, because me personally, I like Sean Porter. He's a good dude.
I do too.
But I'm not a big fan of Sean Porter's fighting style. It's nothing pretty about it, and I'm sure that works out perfectly for him. You know what I mean? Because in a fight, I'm not trying to look pretty. I'm trying to win. I'm not trying to be like Muhammad Ali. I'm trying to knock your head off, and that's what Sean Porter go out there and do on a nightly basis. But he's a really good fighter. He's very, very talented. But should he be the next guy in line? Me personally, I don't think so.
We know, Buck, you bring up a really interesting point when you talk about fighting styles, right? And a guy whose style was never really praised for being the most entertaining, however, was a very effective style, was a man who's going to go down as one of the greatest boxers of all time, Floyd Mayweather Jr. And Floyd Mayweather broke some news over the weekend. And right now, actually, Jackalope Music says Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather is coming. His brother claims to have made 8 figures on his fight with Nate Robinson. How much do you think people would pay to see King Booker demolish Hellweenie? But that's neither here nor there. But what Jackalope is talking about is news did break, and as soon as it did, I called you, and I said, did you see this? YouTube star Logan Paul, who has been in the squared circle before, facing KSI not once but twice in the Staples Center, who is the brother of Jake Paul, who just knocked out Nate Robinson on the Tyson undercard. It was announced yesterday that he and the 50-0 Floyd Money Mayweather Jr. are going to fight one another in an exhibition match in February 2021. This is from FanMio, who's putting on this event. FanMio Boxing will be putting on this event, and Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul. What I thought was just an idiotic Twitter thing after the Jake Paul fight. Looks like it's actually going to happen. What do you think about this, book?
You know, man, the last time I said something like this couldn't happen, Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor, it happened. I didn't think the commission would pass off on something like that. It happened. That was a real, professional boxing event. This right here is an exhibition, of course. That's what they're calling it. Floyd Mayweather, of course, went over to Japan 2018 against Japanese kid over there,
Natsukawa, right?
Natsukawa, and picked up some good money. So I'm sure after that fight, Floyd Mayweather go, wow, man, this is some easy money, man. I mean, I didn't get touched that. The kid didn't even touch me, man. I can make money like this, man. What are you talking about? And me personally, if I can make it like that, I'm gonna go get it.
Give me the money.
But do it, but do it. Is it right? Do it put a stain on boxing? I don't know, man. I think so. Then again, Floyd Mayweather is, considered to be the best boxer to go down, perhaps the best boxer in the history of the game. 50-0, guy that retired undefeated in this game. Fought everybody pretty much, throughout the division and, on his way up. He really did. So my thing is, do Floyd Mayweather need the money? I don't know. Is Floyd Mayweather doing this just to, pay his taxes? You know what I mean? Let me make some extra, change to pay these taxes over here. I got owe a whole lot over here. So I'm thinking about my bank account. Is it one of those type of things? Should Floyd Mayweather be thinking about, the legacy and the history of the boxing game? Are we now, just like when we watch wrestling, just like I said, if the Undertaker was done today, he'll be the Undertaker on Monday night, and on Thursday night he'll be a chef on Twitch. Are we at that place now to where social media is overriding, and the money you can make, through social media overriding the thought process of anything that's going on right now?
I mean, it would seem that way. When I first saw this, I didn't believe it initially, but then I saw that it came from the worldwide leader in sports, ESPN, so I knew that it had been, fact-checked, and it was the truth. And I think that I agree with you. I agree with you in the sense of it is a black eye on the sport of boxing because boxing has just started to get its credibility back, but more than that, I think it's a black eye on the career of Floyd Mayweather. You talk about a guy who was always criticized, really, although he fought everyone in the division. What has been the main criticism of Floyd Mayweather? He either got him late or he got him early, right?
Most of the guys,
he either got them when they were too old or when they were too young. He never got guys right in their prime. He didn't get Manny in his prime. He didn't get De La Hoya in his prime. He didn't get Canelo Alvarez in his prime. He fought very few top-flight boxers in the prime of their career. And remember, his last real fight against a professional boxer was his 49-0 win against Andre Berto. And I'm not saying that Vegas really favored Andre Berto in that fight either. So you can make the case that Floyd Mayweather, sure, has he fought notable names, he has fought people who he was for sure going to win against. He knew this. This is why the 50-0 fight against Conor McGregor made all the sense in the world. Looking back on it, I'm still a proponent of that fight happening. I like that fight happened. I think that it was the right place, the right time to do something like that for a one-off. However, since then, it has opened Pandora's box where you have seen stars from MMA want to go into boxing. Stars from boxing want to go into MMA. We're seeing it with Clarissa Shields. We'll see how that turns out. You see Jorge Masvidal was talking, I want to fight Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez wants to fight Jorge Masvidal. Conor McGregor says he's going to fight Manny Pacquiao. And then you start to see, right after that, these fights with the Paul brothers. The Paul brothers were like, hey, a lot of people are interested in a crossover boxing match. You know, what if we boxed, right? What if we got into the game? We have a big following. And then people, for some reason, paid to see it, right? They paid to see KSI Logan Paul 1. They paid to see KSI Logan Paul 2. And really, to be quite frank with you, although we like seeing Mike, the fight that everybody talked about was the Jake Paul fight. Him knocking out Nate Robinson. That was the first thing that they discussed on Skip and Shannon. That was the first thing on First Take was the Nate Robinson knockout. So the social media effect of all of this plays a massive implication. And to me, Floyd Mayweather, what he is doing with his last 3 fights, if you include his exhibitions, are going to be against an MMA fighter, a kickboxer who was 21 years old. Oh, let me back up. An MMA fighter who had never had a professional boxing match in his life, a kickboxer who was 21 years old, and a YouTuber who was actually, 1-1 in his professional career as a boxer? These are what your last 3 fights are going to be? If this fight goes down, Floyd Mayweather will never be regarded as the greatest boxer of all time. He is taking his legacy and he is flushing it down the toilet for money. And you know what? He's living up to his nickname, and I hope that he can live with that. But Floyd Mayweather doing this, I don't like it. I wish it wasn't going to happen. I'm not going to pay for it. I don't know anybody who's going to even pay for it. And that's how I feel about it.
No, man, I agree with you in a lot of ways. There again, like I say, if you need the money, it's one thing, you know, but Floyd always, talked about, how much money he's got, splurging, big cars, big houses, in several different cities. Man, I'm gonna tell you, I don't care how much money you making, bro. I don't care how much money you making, and you got these big houses, and Floyd hadn't really worked since Andre Berto.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, unless you count Conor McGregor.
No, I'm not counting Conor McGregor. I'm talking about the last time Floyd worked was Andre Berto. So that tells me Floyd, money has to be on a consistent basis, man. It can't be something that's just trickling in, trickling out here and there. With Floyd need money to live that lifestyle, and I really think that's what he's doing it for more than anything, man. It's all about the paper, baby. The thing is, man, I can understand that if that's what it's about. But if Floyd has put himself in that position, he's definitely put himself in a bad position. Hey, guys, let me get this out there. Let me pay these bills, man. As a local-based company, Gal Media believes in the concept of supporting local businesses, jobs, and our community, guys. So we're asking you, our listeners, to hashtag keep it local when you're shopping, eating out, taking out, or buying services. Consider a local business and share your experiences with the hashtag keep it local. Hey guys, listen for our sponsors that support ESPN 975 and 92.5, then hashtag keep it local with them. If you want to learn more, go to ESPN975.com/keep it local. Hey guys, we're in the Hall of Fame. Stick around. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer, and this is for all up-and-coming professional wrestlers, male and female. You want to know the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts. You got a question, I got the answer. If you want to know how, join my masterclass. Go to realityofwrestling.com for all the information, starting on Thursday and every Thursday after that, guys. Don't miss out. Don't get shut out. And I know you can dig that.
The Academy.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, man. We back. Shoop! Let me throw that out there. The T-shirt's gonna be coming out here real soon, man. Pro Wrestling Tees, get you one. Yeah, man. What were you thinking, man? What were you thinking?
Well, I wanted to ask you something because we were talking just a minute ago about the whole thing, that the war of words. We'll just call it that. The war of words.
Yeah.
And one of the guys who was kind of the impetus of this whole incident happening last week was one Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
And Pat McAfee last night went out there on NXT television in the WarGames match, the match that you said was very close, near and dear to your heart.
Definitely.
And he went out there and he put on in the main event with his boys versus the Undisputed Era. But I wanted to talk about Pat McAfee for a second. A guy who used to host a show with called WWE Backstage, CM Punk. He was on Twitter, and he made an interesting statement that I kind of want your feedback on. Because I remember you being a little bit, what's the word? You weren't all the way sold on Pat McAfee right when he started to come around the WWE universe. Remember, we weren't sure.
I wasn't all in.
You weren't all in. That's what I was looking for. You weren't all in on Pat McAfee, right? So, and then, he's been doing really well on NXT television. CM Punk made a statement a couple of days ago on Twitter. And this is what he said. He said, a lot of it has to do with circumstance, but everybody else on the shows, and I think he's referring to Raw, SmackDown, NXT, maybe even AEW, he said, should feel embarrassment and subsequently use said feeling to better themselves at the fact that Pat McAfee is a better promo than everyone on the shows. CM Punk saying right now, Pat McAfee might be the best promo in all of wrestling. First, I want to get your reaction to that comment. And if somebody like that were to come into your realm while you were on top, how would you feel about that? And would you be embarrassed if some guy could do it better than you could, and this is your job?
I mean, first of all, would I be embarrassed? Nah, I don't think so. I think I would just give the guy his props, and say, man, he's doing a pretty good job. You know what I mean? I try to up my game, but I wouldn't hate on the guy or feel embarrassed because he came in and did a good job. Well, it would. I said something about Pat McAfee, like you said, I wasn't sold on him. I wasn't all in, but when Pat showed me how much he loved it from a perspective to where how he respected it, and then how he worked to before he actually got in the ring and did it, and then he actually went out and did a good job. It's not something, a lot of that, you can teach, but a lot of it you can't. A lot of it you just gotta love the game. Like I say, when I first got into wrestling, I thought, I could do it a lot better than a lot of guys that was already on television. I thought that way. I mean, I was sitting at home on my sofa watching it on TV. I remember saying it. I was like, man, I could do this better than that guy right now. And I'd never taken a lesson, so it's a lot of guys like Pat McAfee out there that's quick wit, that can hold their own against anybody and adapt. More than anything, he's a guy that played football, but you could tell he loved wrestling. And this is something that he's having a whole lot of fun doing at the same time. And he's getting, you know what? He's probably getting a good paycheck too, so that makes it a little bit easy. No, but that comes along with it if you're good. If he wasn't good, it's a lot of ex-football players that then came through and tried to get into this game that just didn't work out. Their bodies just wasn't meant to do this. But Pat McAfee, he's a little bit different than most football players, being a kicker, being a guy who, hadn't gotten a whole lot of, wear and tear on his body throughout his career, being a guy that could go through a football career, retire, and then actually get into this, and his body holds up for him to actually be placed in certain areas, just like in this match against the Undisputed Era,
WarGames.
And then, for him to go out and work Adam Cole in a singles match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's definitely worked to get to this position. As far as the promo skills go, man, a lot of that is natural, man. A lot of that is just natural. And some guys got it, and some guys don't. So I'm not going to agree, with CM Punk and say the guys should be embarrassed. If he said, I didn't see the article, if he said they should be embarrassed.
Those were his words.
Yeah,
his exact words
really
were, but everyone else on the other shows should feel embarrassment.
Well, I mean, one thing I could say about Pat McAfee, he's a guy that's got worldly experience. He's a guy that's been around. Yeah. He's not like, a lot of guys that come up out of NXT that, work the indies and stuff. This guy's worked on a professional level. So he knows what it, just that it's one of those sayings that I use all the time. I said, you got to know how to make it in the locker room before you ever get a chance at making it in the ring. And trust me, Pat McAfee was one of those guys in the locker room, and he had to be able to make it in the locker room in order for those guys to respect him. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna give him his props. My thing is, I've had a wrestling school for 15 years now, and I've learned, man, you just cannot judge a book by its cover. The worst guy, may turn out to be the best guy, and you go, wow, man, I never saw that coming. So, nah, man, if the guy does well, give him his props, give him a little bit more responsibility. Hopefully, he can live up to that. Give him a little bit more responsibility until we can, put the rocket on him and make some money with him more than anything. So, hopefully, that's the way this thing will play out.
We will see. I'm a big fan of Pat McAfee so far, so we'll see what he can do. We do have a super chat coming in from Aaron C, our faithful Aaron C, $10 super chat. He said, "Why do y'all think Keith Lee is being buried?" I don't know. I don't necessarily see Keith Lee being buried. He's been featured prominently on the show, but here's the thing that I think sometimes, Book, and then I get your reaction to it. I think sometimes when somebody isn't always featured and they're in the prominent main event position, when you as the fan feel like that they should be, in your mind, Aaron, and in others' minds, they're being quote unquote buried. But sometimes it's just not that guy's turn in that position. So he has to do something on the side, maybe work a little other program, maybe another program, and then eventually he comes up in the rotation. It's just like pitchers in the MLB. Why doesn't Justin Verlander pitch in every game? Because it's not his turn. They got to go through the rotation. And then when it's time for Verlander to pitch, he will pitch game 1 of the World Series. I guarantee you. That's what I think that probably some people think of Keith Lee or whomever their favorite is at the time. They think, oh, this guy's getting buried, when in fact, they're just doing something, a little side mission before we get back on track.
No, man. I mean, you can't be the center of attention every week. Keith Lee is a guy he's got a boatload of potential, and if he weather the storm, he's a guy that's going to be put in a great position. But that's what it's all about. It's really about weathering the storm. And I've been in that position many times myself, to where I wasn't the guy who was in the main event, but I was a guy that was still relevant. I was a guy that, that was, people still looked at it, as being one of the stars on the show. And that right there, if the fans are looking at you as being one of the stars on the show, there is room for you to move up in a huge way, because whether you believe it or realize it or not, the fans, they do dictate the way things go a lot of ways. You look at the Daniel Bryan movement, you look at Kofi Mania. These guys got pushed because the fans wanted to see them come up. Guys like Cesaro is not still on the card because of he slept on a banana peel by accident or anything. The fans want to see that guy on the card, and they want to see him in a certain position. And if the time is right, he'll come up in a certain position. But we look at Cesaro now, and he's won tag team championships on 4 different occasions with four different people.
Yeah.
So he's a guy that is going out there making his mark and creating history very, very quietly in the WWE. And him and I, he's a guy that, him and I, we talk all the time. And, it's always like, man, just keep doing what you're doing, bro. Man, bro, I know sometimes it can get frustrated, but hey, just keep doing what you're doing. And sometimes you land in a very, 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 very soft spot.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you. And the thing is, Book, when you weren't the top guy, as you said, you were still an important presence. You were still a presence nonetheless. And, eventually, boom, came all the way back around. You found yourself back in the main event position with the world title. I mean, it's just weathering the storm, like you said. Even if it gets frustrating for you as the performer or for us as the audience member, it's eventually going to happen. Case in point, Daniel Bryan was another guy, right, who was just kind of always on the perimeter. Then it got to be that time, WrestleMania 30. He has a moment that will be immortalized in the annals of WWE history.
Yeah. Definitely. And nobody more than me want to see Keith Lee come up. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Because the brother got talent. He comes from that old school, that same old school that I worked back in the day. Killer Tim Brooks trained him. Had a chance to work with Killer Tim Brooks, myself, back in the day, and got beat up pretty good. So I know where this kid come from, so definitely I want to see Keith Lee come up on the roster, but, kid just came from NXT, you know what I mean? I wouldn't call him a kid. He's a grown man. He just came from NXT. And, we want to see, instant coffee. And it just don't happen like that. This thing here gonna have to percolate a little bit. It's like Folgers, man, or some Juan Valdez, man. You got to let it percolate before you get right. Hey guys, you're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Shoop! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. We rolling. We ain't gonna be here that long, so guys, you got anything that y'all want to put out there that might be a cool question? Make sure you put it out there. Super chats, of course, guys. We're always looking for super chats to help fuel this channel, man. Make sure we keep growing more than anything, because we want our own studio, man. We want our own building and everything. We need you guys to actually help get that done. But yeah.
Well, speaking of that, Aaron C coming back. We were just talking about Keith Lee. Aaron C coming back with another thing. But the thing is, Keith Lee was pushed so much. Again, I think we just talked about it. It's the rotation.
No. I mean, let's look at it for a second. Keith Lee, North American champion,
NXT
champion, coming onto the main roster. Booker T, world heavyweight champion. United States champion coming into WWF. I end up losing both of the belts. And I got the world title back, lost it again, and didn't see that title again for
4 years,
6 years, 5 years, like 5 years. So people can look at me that way too and say, well, man, Booker, he's not getting pushed and whatnot. But I really thought I don't know, I could be wrong, but throughout my whole WWE career, I was getting pushed. I'm serious. I don't ever remember being in a bad spot in WWE. Now, was I on every pay-per-view and highlighted in the main event? No, I wasn't. But I don't think, if there are people like that that's only highlighted in the main event all the time, that's a rarity.
Yeah, it's few and far between, and typically the audience starts to turn on them, right? It happens to everybody. It happened to Hogan. It happened to Cena. It happened to Rock. It happened to everybody. If you're on, if you're on top too much, people get sick of you. Roman.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I thought I've always been in a good position, and I think Keith Lee is going to be one of those guys too. If Keith Lee can, stay injury free, man. That's the one thing that scares me about Keith Lee more than anything is he's a big guy, throws caution to the wind sometime, and one wrong landing, one little inch, here, inch there, man, something could happen, and I would hate to see that big man go out there and put himself on the shelf. And I say the same thing about Big E when Big E would do that big spear to that guy on the outside. God, man, come on, something's gonna happen here sooner or later, man. If you don't, stop doing that, So when I see these big guys do stuff like that, not that they can't do it, and trust me, it's not that I'm telling them not to do it, but it scares me, man. It scares me when they go out there and try.
No, I hear you. And speaking of something might happen, I actually want to get to a point that I have real quick. But first off, we do need to congratulate Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, who gave birth to their child today. So congratulations to them. Hopefully we get to see Becky Lynch back in a WWE ring. But
What a quick 9 months, though, right?
it was super fast, man.
What a quick
Super
9
fast.
months. She's ready to get back in the ring.
She's ready to go. I mean, WrestleMania just happened, so it's maybe like a couple of weeks early, but still, nevertheless, congratulations to them. But this is what I want to say. We were talking about Seth Rollins last week when we were talking about the return of the icon, Sting, right? And I was pretty much against ever seeing Sting wrestle because the last time that we saw him was against Seth Rollins at the Night of Champions, Houston, Texas, Toyota Center, 2015, whatever that was. And he had the spinal stenosis. The buckle bombs rocked him. It was his last match in WWE. We all thought it was going to be his last match. He went in the Hall of Fame subsequently the next year at WrestleMania 32. So I was pretty much against it last week. And you were kind of saying, you know what? If he wants to go out there and finish it on his terms, let him finish it on his terms.
Yeah.
And I was still against it. I was still against it until last night I was on Instagram and I saw an Instagram post from a friend of the show, the very first guest on the Hall of Fame. You remember who the very first guest was on the Hall of Fame?
No.
First episode, first guest. We had 45-minute interview with the Ayatollah of rock and roll, the Mick Jagger of professional wrestling.
Okay.
Chris
Oh,
Jericho.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I saw this on Chris Jericho's Instagram last night, and then I got excited, Book. And I got to say, if there is a match for Sting, it's Sting versus Jericho. And here's the reason why. Let me just tell you why. You bring in Sting for what? You want to bring back the nostalgia. And these two guys have been in the same company on two separate occasions and have never wrestled one another. Now they're in the same company for the third occasion. They were both in WCW at the same time. They were both in WWE at the same time. Now they're both in AEW. And if Sting's going to go out and have one more last classic match, this is no disrespect to Darby Allin. This is no disrespect to Cody Rhodes, both of which who would be deserving of an honor such as that. But if you're going to go out and you're Sting, can you imagine main event style? You have the icon Sting versus Le Champion, Chris Jericho. The first time ever, last time ever. And you could even throw in loser leaves town if you want to. I don't care. But first time ever, last time ever. Sting versus Jericho. I'm in for that. If they want to do that match, they have my money. AEW, I'll buy all out, all in, double or nothing, bet it all on black. Whatever the name of your next pay-per-view is, I'm in if it's Sting versus Jericho.
Hey, man, I told you it was something that could be worked out with Sting, man. I didn't see that post until now, but Sting versus Chris Jericho. And Chris Jericho had that look when he went to Japan with the hat, with the one eye.
Pain maker is what he calls it.
With the little mouth paint, just like Sting kind of. And you know what? I never thought about this, with the black jacket with the spikes. So that was actually really cool. No, man, that it works. It works. Not that Sting can't touch, on the career of Darby Allin and, some of those other guys. I really think it's a place there for him as a, character. That's one thing about wrestling is, no matter how old you are, you can still be a character. You can still go out there. And then Sting, Sting being 61, he can still go out there and go. He can still go out there and move. He can still go out there and do a little something in the ring. How much, I think it really wouldn't matter with him and a guy like Jericho.
Right.
But I really think they could go out and, pretty much smoke and mirrors and tell a story. Even at the age, Sting is right now, even still at the age of Chris Jericho right now, I think, no disrespect, guys, no disrespect to anybody, but I still think those guys got enough knowledge in their head to be able to go out there and literally smoke and mirrors, unlike, the way the young guys could go out there and do it today. And I say that because, here in Houston, we had, Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania. And, between the two of those guys at that time, it was about 100 years, because both of them were about 50 at the time. And they went out and had the best match on the card by far that night. They told the best story by far that night on the card. So my thing is, the perfect person, perfect person that's going to go out there and dance with him properly, make sure he walks out of that ring. More importantly than anything, maybe we can do this. We might can get 3 out of this. We might can get, three dances. You never know. So my thing is, who's the right guy? For me, every time somebody come to WWE, I say, who's the guy? AJ Styles. Who's the guy? You're not gonna have to worry about anybody. If they're working with AJ Styles, AJ's gonna go out there because he's learned over the years what the work is really all about. Chris Jericho, take nothing away from the guy, man. Over the years, he has learned what the game is truly all about, man. He's like a walking encyclopedia as far as the wrestling game goes. So yeah, I can see that happening, and sure, the fans of AEW would tune in to check it out without a doubt.
I think the fans of the wrestling world around the world would want to see that match, especially because now they may have worked each other on a Nitro or something back in the day, but nothing of prominence that I can remember. So to have that match, especially if it's first time ever, last time ever, I just love the billing of that. And then again, you have these two guys dressed like this. It sells itself. And what you said about the smoke and mirrors, I think that you're also referring to, when you think about a guy like a Cody or even more so Darby Allin. Darby Allin's known for these big spots that he'll do, right? And he'll go out there and put his body at reckless abandon in order to get his story across. And he'll do the coffin drop on the apron, and you almost cringe thinking about it. But Jericho can go out there and do it from the psychology standpoint, right?
Yeah.
This is how we're going to do it. And Sting also won't feel compelled, because I think some of that Seth Rollins match, he felt compelled to go out there and work like a young guy. I want to do the dive off the top rope. I'll take a couple buckle bombs. Sure, kid, whatever you want to do, I want to feel like a young guy right now. I want to go out there and work like these young guys are working, and Sting was trying to stay relevant. But if Sting stays in his bag and he does what the Stinger does, I just need a Stinger splash, I need a howl to the crowd, and I need a death drop and a death lock. That's all I need. I need those 4 moves. Let Jericho build the story in between those 4 points, and we're gold. We're gold. We did it, and you can walk out knowing that you did it. You know what I'm saying?
You know what, man? I beg to differ, man.
No, don't beg to differ.
If I'm booking this thing, man, if I'm booking it, the young guy want to get his shot first, and that young guy is going to be Darby Allin, and Darby Allin is the future. He's not ready just yet, but one day he's going to be there. And if he can go through Sting, that might put him in that position. Now, for me, if I'm working Darby Allin, if I'm Sting, man, I need the coffin drop. I need all of the big spots you can pull out of your hat. Coffin drop off the top of the trun. So I can move right at the last second. That kind of stuff. You go for a big spot, and Stinger catch you. Hit you with that Stinger drop, boom, right off the top rope. You know what I mean? Just make sure you land in the right spot, kid. And then we move on to, the big main event match, later on. And then we, like I say, make it we get a few dances out of this thing, So I don't know, man. That's just the way I see it. You know what I mean? I need Darby Allin. I need that young blood more than anything. And then Sting, he has to be able to touch on that young blood in AEW, just because it really is all about the passing of the torch more than anything. Hey guys, we got to get out of here, man. This show went by quick. Hey guys, we'll be right back on Wednesday doing our thing again. We got something special. We're gonna create something special for you guys on Wednesday. But there again, we got to get up out of here. Bradley, appreciate you for sticking around. All of you guys putting out the comments. Appreciate you guys. But we up out of here. Shut up.